One liftoff! Liftoff here in Hawaii, the state of clean energy on a given Wednesday, Energy Wednesday. And we have a special show for you because we have lots of adventurous things going on today, mostly with Colorado or somehow involving Colorado. We are visiting Maui by Skype today. We're visiting the Maui Energy Conference, which focuses on the customer. We're going to find out about that with our regular co-host, Sharon Moriwaki, who is in Maui at the conference, and Ray Starling, who is in Maui at the conference, and Hunter Lovin, who is a speaker at the conference, and she is with, let me get this, Natural Capitalization Solutions. She's the president of that company, and she's the chief insurgent and troublemaker at the conference. Welcome to the show, all of you guys.
Aloha.
And the hat, of course, comes from Colorado because actually Hunter is from Colorado. All right, well, okay, so first I need somebody to tell me what's going on in Maui.
This is quite an exciting conference. We've got everybody here talking about customer-driven utility, and we've had quite a full day already on listening to the utilities, listening to different organizations that have been working. Blue Planet is here talking about what they're doing with the customer, and Maui Economic Development worked with the utilities to do a survey and focus groups out in the community. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. And we're learning a lot. And we asked Hunter Lovins here from the Natural Capitalism Solutions from Colorado, because she had such an exciting message to give in terms of customer-driven, as well as what to do about utilities that don't allow customers to drive.
Okay,
and we wanted her to talk to us about.
Yeah, let's go to Hunter now. Hunter, you of all the speakers, of all of the many speakers and panelists at this conference, Sharon and Ray chose you. There must have been a reason. Why do you think they chose you to come and talk to us today, eh?
I have no idea, except that what I said this year, and I was also here last year, is in effect the old pogo line. We are confronted by insurmountable opportunities. The islands are rich in energy, and yet we continue year after year after year to see the utility try to delay the inevitable transition to greater customer choice in how you meet your desires for energy services. None of us want energy. We don't want electricity. We don't want oil. We don't want coal. What we want are hot showers, cold beer. We want the services that energy can give us. We want it cheaply, reliably, and environmentally benign. Increasingly, Hawaiian customers are realizing that they are dependent now on imported fossil energy. Burning this fossil energy is destroying the stability of the global climate. This will hurt all of the customers here in Hawaii with higher sea level, more violent storms, storm surges. California now is in a profound drought. It produces a third of the United States vegetables, fruits and vegetables. Hawaii could grow its own, dependent on imports. Just as you're dependent on imported oil, there were proposals to have imported coal here on Maui. I had a small hand in helping some of the local people here kill that proposed power plant. But think now, if that had been built, the millions of dollars that utility customers would have paid to build that, and now you would be dependent on coal. Instead, the sun shines essentially every day. Yeah, occasionally it rains. But in Germany, cold, cloudy Germany, people are now getting up to half of their electricity from the sun, from the wind. And Hawaii is rich in sun, in wind, in flowing water, in biomass. Hawaii could be 100% renewably powered. And instead, we heard this morning from Hawaiian Electric and NextEra, oh, let's go 65% renewable by 2030. 2030, I'm dead. It doesn't do me any good. Oh, and they want to build a whole bunch of liquefied natural gas facilities. LNG facilities can explode. They are not safe, and it's not cheap. And by drilling, fracking, fracturing the earth to get more of this gas, in places like my backyard, the fugitive methane that escapes from these wells is driving climate change. So you're not getting a clean energy source, which the utility says it is. It's not. It's as dirty as coal. And the price will go up. These wells only last a short period of time, and then they play out. And you got to punch a new hole. Every time you punch a hole, you release methane and you incur costs. If instead Maui, the islands, had committed back in the 1950s when the US Paley Commission urged an immediate transition to energy efficiency and renewable energy as a matter of national security. If we had done that, if we had invested then, we would now have free energy. 30, 35 cents a kilowatt hour for your electricity? Come on, this is crazy. You could be having free energy. Yes, you have to invest now in order to put solar on your roof, but companies like Solar City that we're here today talking will do it with 3 little words: no money down. Free. What is it about free that Hawaii isn't understanding? Oh, you want to put a big cable. Let's put wind on Lanai or Molokai and cable it across at what, a cost of $1 billion, $2 billion? What if you put that $1 billion or $2 billion into rooftop solar? I have rooftop solar. Actually, I have ground-mounted solar. I live on a ranch in Colorado. And so in my front yard is a 5-kilowatt solar system. And when the power goes out, which it does when we get an ice storm or a big wind storm, or a year or so back, we had a big flood. And the power was out for 4 days. Not me. I have grid integrated, but standalone capable solar. So the grid goes down, my solar system takes over, my little battery backup is charging, I have light, I have power, my refrigerator works, my computer works. What's not to like? The grid comes back on, and on a hot summer afternoon when I'm at my office, my solar system is chunking out electrons going to the utility. Now, utilities are nice beasts to have around. We invented them. They do a good job generally. And if they're nice to me, I keep this relationship. I sell to them when I have extra. I buy from them when I need it, typically at night when the wind is blowing. Life is good. If they are not nice to me, if they do things like take away my net metering, which is a proposal here by an electric, I cut loose. I buy one of these 5-kilowatt battery backup, looks like a refrigerator, sits in my garage, and I say adios to the utility. I am the face of what is called the death spiral. Utilities around the world are starting to lose money as people like me leave the grid. Why is it that Apple, Google, IKEA, Unilever, big companies are saying, we're going to go 100% renewably powered because they can do the math. They realize they make an investment now, or they team with a company like NRG, which is also here in the islands, and they get the solar paid for up front. They then pay Solar City, Sungevity, NRG, any of these vendors, and they can either just continue to pay, just like they do a utility except cheaper, or over time they pay off the capital cost of the system and now they own it. Now what I did was I got paid for helping a company. I just bought a solar system, stuck it on my roof. So we heard today from the utility that, well, they have to study whether or not Hawaii could have 100% renewable power. Of course you can. Islands like Samso off the coast of Denmark are 100% renewably powered. And the mayor, Alan Arakawa, ran through a list of islands around the world that are now 100% renewably powered. The utility kept saying, well, we need studies. We need to study whether people like me having solar are somehow imposing greater costs on the people who don't have solar. No, you don't. That study has been done. It was just released by the Nevada Public Utility Commission. Short answer, no. It is benefiting even the people who do not have solar. For people like me to have solar, I make the whole system work better. So stop studying, start doing. Cowboys say there's talk and then there's do, and only one matters. It's long past time for Hawaii to take the rich energy that you have and begin building a stronger locally based economy with no imports, using your own energy.
Well, I now understand the answer to my question about why of all the speakers they selected you. We're going to take a short break, Hunter, and Sharon and Ray, and then we're going to come back and then we're going to ask Hunter how she really feels. This is Hawaii, the state of clean energy. We're having a report from the front in Maui with Sharon Moriwaki, Ray Starling, and Hunter Lovin. We'll be right back with more.
Aloha, I'm Hunter Hevlin, host of
I had to say that. I just had to say
ThinkTech
that.
Hawaii. You can tune in every week on Thursday at 2 p.m. to see interviews with sustainability professionals from around the state and even further abroad, learning about activities with water management, food security, waste management, and a whole host of other fascinating opportunities to get engaged with making a greener island. So if you're interested in making the transition from consuming individuals to communities of producers, check us out every Thursday.
Hi, my name is Andrew Howard. I'm an astronomer at the Institute for Astronomy at the University of Hawaii up in Manoa. I'd like to tell you about the annual open house that we're having. This year it is on April 6th, 11 to 4 p.m. It's an all ages event, kids, grown-ups, even people in between, everyone is welcome. We have a lot of really fun activities. You get to meet astronomers, look at yourself in the infrared camera, play with Legos, make robots, look at videos. You can even make some of the kids like to make comets out of gravel and snow. Even adults like to do that too. You'll be able to look at the sun with a solar camera safely. It's really a great activity. We do this every year in April, and I hope to see you this year. Thanks.
Hi, I'm your host on ThinkTech Asia, Bill Sharp. I look forward to you joining us each Monday between 4 and 5 o'clock when we film right here in our studio in downtown Honolulu. The show, ThinkTech Asia, focuses on contemporary events in Asia. And by Asia, we mean anything from Hawaii, south to Australia and New Zealand, west to Pakistan, and as far north as the Russian Far East. Clearly, this is one of the most economically dynamic centers of the world, and we bring you up to date on what's going on in a whole host of countries in this very vital region. We look forward to seeing you. Aloha.
includes Maui, and we're in touch with Sharon Moriwaki, Ray Starling, our co-hosts, and a speaker at the Maui Energy Conference, Hunter Lovin, by Skype, and we're calling this Report from the Front. Okay, so I'm interested in knowing whether Hunter is speaking for, the general tone of the meeting about focus on the customer, as opposed to last year when it was the utility of the future. I mean, what is the consensus, if there is one? How do other people feel? Are you getting any feedback that way?
I think the last year was sort of a weird time for us. It was exactly a year ago that we had this conference, and everybody came away from it thinking, wow, this is the first time we've ever had all of the parties in the same room speaking more of the truth than sort of speaking the sound bites and letting it pass over the heads of the other side. And I think it was the start of a lot of new thinking about how we handle things here in Hawaii, in the energy world. And
do you think it's something to do with the water in Maui that makes people, outspoken that way?
It must be. But it kind of caught on, and I think we had some good heart-to-heart discussions. And so we come back a year from that time, and things have changed dramatically. A lot of things, and most significant is the 4 orders that came out shortly after the conference last year. That the PUC, where the PUC ordered the utility to make some responses to some very critical issues that needed to be resolved. And also, then back in December, we had another large change in things that came after the conference. And whether the conference affected it at all, I don't know for sure, but I think it did. And that's the NextEra merger with ECO.
And don't forget, in the middle, we changed CEOs of Hawaiian Electric.
Yeah, that, and we changed the chair of the Public Utilities Commission. So, and we changed governor. Think of it. I mean, we changed
it's a whole
everything.
New world, yeah.
Except we've changed it in the sense that we've made more progress, but we have not really changed the fundamental things yet. We haven't seen it happen yet. And that's maybe the theme here. We all agree that it's something that really has to reach out to the customer. The customer's got to be a key part of this. And if we don't take care of the customers every day are getting closer to having the options.
But Ray, I mean, wasn't the customer a big part of the conference last year? I would have assumed that the customer is always a big...
It was, but people weren't talking.
It was more technology.
Yeah, it was more technology last year, but this year it's like we understand it's really about the customer, and I think I think some of the themes that we've seen repeated today seem to be more consistent than the themes that were kind of all over the place last year. Now we'll see. The conference is still going on, still has another day, and so we'll see if those themes can continue. But I believe that we're seeing some consensus as to what we should do. But I don't want to. I'm just giving you some backdrop from the last.
Let me go to Hunter and ask her about these things. Hunter, well, you were there last year, and my understanding is you were speaker also last year, and you were finding the lay of the land last year as you are this year. And I wonder if you could compare the way it was at this conference last year with the way it is at this conference this year.
It feels to me like night and day. Last year felt very much like talking to the utility of the last century. That as far as the utility was concerned, the utility of the future looked very like the utility of the past. It does not feel that way anymore. The language here is now the utility is committed to a clean energy future. As I said, their definition of a clean energy future is not my definition. Now we have the figures. In the last year, 2 years, solar installations here in the islands have been doubling year on year. So the utility says, well, we're going to get to 65% by 2030. That would actually be going backwards. That would be an installation growth rate of maybe 6% a year. It's not going to be like that. So has the utility really come into the future? No, not yet. Now, a lot depends if the NextEra deal goes through, and this is not yet a certainty. I suggested that the utility customer of the future may well be an owner. You already have a co-op on Kauai. We're working in Boulder to municipalize our utility. It now is an investor-owned utility, not a very good one. So the city's going to buy it out, and we're going to run it. You could do that on Maui. You could do that across Hawaii. And that would be a very different future than the one that HECO and NextEra are planning.
Have these alternative models of managing, power been discussed at the conference? I mean, for example, has there been discussion of the Hawaii Island Energy Co-op that was established a few weeks ago? Are people talking about transforming the utility company?
Yes. And that was not so much a conversation a year ago. And I have been approached by people on Maui who are interested in a Maui cooperative. And so I said, you don't know yet what the utility of the future will be. It could well be a co-op. If NextEra comes in and gets serious about being the utility of the future and serving what it is that customers want, then you could have NextEra as the owner. Yeah. But one of the panels talked a lot about ownership. If the utility is owned by shareholders, is it truly acting in the interest of the customer? The Public Utility Commission is supposed to ensure that it does, but monopoly ownership serves its owners, not necessarily the customer. Now, if you have a very active, aggressive PUC, it can be the same thing. There are some very good investor-owned utilities. And for example, in California in the 90s, where the PUC put in place true decoupling and then positive incentivization of the utility so that the utility got a share of what it saved its customer by cutting the customer bill through efficiency. Pacific Gas and Electric was all over that. And they drove efficiency deep into the system. Then along came the so-called deregulation, which was not deregulation, it really was re-regulation. They had 12 utility players, 7 of whom were capable all by themselves of gaming the system, and they did. And billions of dollars were transferred from California to Texas. Now you have a Florida utility coming into Hawaii, wanting to buy HECO. Will billions of dollars be transferred from Hawaii to Florida? Yes, if the Hawaiian PUC does not scrutinize every deal and insist that the utility behave in the interest of Hawaii.
But we have all these reports that NextEra intends to make changes to the infrastructure, to build more current technology, smart grid technology and all that. Doesn't that represent an inflow of capital rather than an exit of capital?
That capital is going to be repaid. That is a next era investment, and they are expecting a return on that investment. So they'll get their principal back plus interest. That
Yeah.
goes to their shareholders.
Yeah.
If they were not going to get that repayment, they would have no interest in coming here. They're not a nonprofit. They're not operating in the public interest. They are a for-profit company. They're operating in the interest of their shareholders.
Are you saying that no public company can operate in the interest of the public?
That's a question I think Hawaiians should look very closely at. I would suggest the only way in which that would be true is if you have an activist PUC that is aggressively taking the interest of the customer to heart.
Well, let me ask you this. You've had a chance to look last year and a chance now to look, and I'm sure that there are a lot of people talking to you and you're talking to them. Do you have a sense? I mean, I know you're just visiting, but you know a lot about Hawaii and you know, you're in touch with the issue. Do you have a sense of whether NextEra is going to be approved on this? What is the consensus, if you will, of the people who are present, you know, at the conference in Maui right now, focused on the customer? What is the sense you're getting about whether the deal will be approved, whether the public likes the deal?
I've been asking everybody that I talk with what they think is going to be the outcome. And the consensus that I've been hearing is it is no better than 50-50 that the deal will go through. And if I were a Hawaiian, I would be saying to NextEra, here are the conditions under which we want to go ahead with this deal. 100% renewable energy within 10 years. Can you do that? If yes, this may be a good deal. If no, if your plan is to invest in a cable, invest in LNG terminals, continue to burn fossil fuel, and only get to 65% renewable by 2030, I would say, not interested. I can do better as a Hawaiian on my own. How do I know that? Because I have done that as a Coloradan on my own.
Okay, we'll take a second break if you don't mind. Hunter Lovin, she's a speaker, a special speaker, selected carefully by the Energy Policy Forum for this show from all the speakers at the Maui Energy Conference. She is the president of the Natural Capitalization Solutions, which deals in energy solutions, I think. This is Hawaii, the State of Clean Energy, with my co-hosts Sharon Moriwaki and Ray Starling reporting from the front. When we come back, Hunter, I would like to ask you what you think would happen in Hawaii if the deal were not approved. If you can imagine that scenario and try to help us understand what you think will happen, okay? We'll be right back after this short break.
Aloha, I'm Kili'i Akina, president of the Grassroot Institute and host on Ehana Kako, a weekly program on the ThinkTech Hawaii broadcast network. Ehana Kako means let's work together. Think of the sad alternative, let's not work together. Here in Hawaii, with all of our diversity and the richness of the people, it's important for us to come together around issues on the basis of what's right and what's good and what's going to serve the common good. And that's what we try to do at Ehana Kako. Every week, we interview movers and shakers, people in government, business, and other sectors of society to talk about how to create together a better government, economy, a better world here in Hawaii that can bless the rest of the world. I thank you for your attention to ThinkTech Hawaii, and we look forward to seeing you every Monday, 2 to 3 p.m. on the ThinkTech Hawaii broadcast network. We're Ehana Kako, and we wish you well. Aloha.
2, 1. We're back. We're live. We're here in Hawaii, the State of Energy, which of course includes Maui, especially around this time of year when they do the Maui Conference on Energy. And this year it's focused on the customer, a very interesting conference. We're calling this report from the front, and what we mean by the front is what's going on in Maui. With our co-hosts Sharon Moriwaki and Ray Starling. Sharon's with the Hawaii Energy Policy Forum, Ray Starling with Hawaii Energy. And our special guest, Hunter Lovin, who is the president of the Natural Capitalism Solutions. Let me take a moment and ask you, Hunter, what is that? What does it do?
We are an NGO that works with companies, communities, and countries on ways to implement more regenerative practices profitably. So I consult with companies from Unilever to the Cheesecake Factory. I teach. I'm a professor of sustainable business at the Bard MBA. I was asked a couple of years ago by the King of Bhutan to pull together some of the brightest minds on the planet to try to reinvent the global economy. A modest task.
Otherwise, save the world, yeah?
That's right, try to save the world.
Okay, I got it. But let's go back to the question. Let give you a hypothetical, okay? That these conditions that you described, which could be very expensive for a company that, you know, has to report to its stockholders, are unacceptable to NextEra, just hypothetically, and it says we're not going to do the deal. Or the PUC, so say an activist PUC, says we're not going to approve the deal because we're not satisfied the conditions will be met, these conditions that you laid out. Okay, so there is no deal, and we're back to square one. What happens to Hawaii?
That is, again, a choice for Hawaii. Best case, what happens is that Hawaiians realize that you're very rich in energy and you begin to invest in yourself. You create the system such as they have in Germany with, say, a feed-in tariff, so that anyone who brings to the grid renewable energy, or indeed energy efficiency, gets paid a fair price for it. And I can guarantee you, the minute that happens, every solar provider on the planet is going to be coming here with offers to put solar covering on parking lots, solar on every flat roof. And then Hawaiians decide for themselves which of these projects make sense. You start with energy efficiency because it is the cheapest. In the ladies' room here at the MAC, you have what are called T12 light bulbs, the big fat incandescent bulbs. Upstairs in where we have the exhibits, you have incandescent bulbs. This is crazy. They all ought to be LEDs. Why? Because it's the cheapest way to get light in a room.
I want to assure you, Hunter, that here in our studio in Honolulu, and I hope we get to see you here in the studio one day, it's all LEDs. Everything is LED.
Good for you. You are economically smart, saving money.
We're looking at the long term.
You're even looking at the short term. These things pay, if you have to pay someone to climb a ladder to change a bulb, because they last longer, you have an immediate financial saving changing out to LEDs today.
Let me tell you a little about the short term. The short term is that we only have 9 minutes left on the show, and I want to get Sharon and Ray Starling in to give us a little commentary on their reactions, which may be the same as yours, to the conference. And so if Ilani could point the camera at one or the other of them, then we'll get their comments. And then I want to get on to Rob DeVerturda for the Hawaii Energy Negawatt moment at the last.
I think that the conference.
So let's see. Let's take Sharon first. Sharon, can you give us your thoughts and reactions? After all, you are reporting from the front. We designated you as our special reporter, and I know that you have reactions, and so does Ray.
Ray is going to be here soon, but I think that it's exciting because last year, as Hunter said, it was really technology driven, being talked to. This year we have people having their experiences with the customer and different options and opportunities, and I don't know if all of them are in play. I think there are a lot of ideas for thought, but the real plus of this conference is that it's really looking at shifting the whole energy scene from a centralized utility to where the customer has options, the customer has choices, the customer can actually speak out and voice, whether they're on the grid or off the grid, and giving people that choice. I think those are the kind of discussions that make it very, very much a very energetic kind of conference. And the kinds of people who are here are not only from government and from the utilities, from the public sector, as well as from people like Hunter and different organizations that have worked with communities, are giving, I hope, the utilities a different frame of mind to see what is possible and what may happen if they aren't shifting and transforming, more than words. So it's very exciting. But the next step is really the doing, as you say. The doing is really all.
So let's get Ray. Ray is good at summaries. Let's talk to Ray for a minute because we're gonna go to Rob DeVerturda after a couple of minutes here. So Ray, can you give us your closing as far as the report from Maui is concerned?
Well, I would just say that the Maui event has not concluded yet. There's still a full day to go. In fact, they're still going out there right now. And I think I see a consensus forming that we need to talk directly to each other, speak the truth, and not be holding back now. This is a time where, and we're all involved in this in the sense that we all live here and we have to live with whatever it is we end up with. And my big fear is, and this was expressed a couple of times, that we could have the customers who can leave the system leave in enough numbers that it would paralyze and destroy the capability of the system to operate for the benefit of those who couldn't leave. And that's a fear that we ought to drive. It ought to drive us to actually get this thing fixed in a way that we can live with for the future. So I'm anxious to see what happens tomorrow with the further conversation, and then what is generated after this conference, sort of like what happened last year. A lot happened, and we're seeing the results of it now.
Okay, stand by for a minute, Ray, because we don't want to say goodbye to you and Sharon and Hunter just yet, but we do want to have Rob DeVerturda give us his Negawatt Moment report. So Rob, you've been patient, and I'm sure you have something interesting and creative for us. What have you got today?
All right, thanks for having me, Jay. And just for clarification purposes, I am here on Oahu, right in downtown Honolulu, doing the Negawatt Moment on behalf of Hawaii Energy. So just so everybody knows, Hawaii Energy is the ratepayer-funded energy conservation and efficiency program for Hawaii, Lanai, Maui, Molokai, and right here in Oahu. So today we're going to talk about a program that we have. It's a free program called the Energy Smart for Home, otherwise known as the Multifamily Direct Install Program. So it's basically free for any residents who live in a multifamily dwelling of 10 or more. And so basically what we're doing is we're providing a whole host of different energy efficient measures to help them save energy. All they really have to do is, like I said, have 10 or more units where they live and have electric water heating. And so essentially what we're giving out is low flow shower heads, kitchen and bathroom faucet aerators, and then a smart power strip that basically works as some items can remain on and some can remain off, unlike just a traditional power strip. And we're going to give 3 CFLs. So all in all, that's a value of about $150, and it can save residents about $300 a year in electricity. So we basically want to get the word out. We have it available now. Anybody can sign up for it. We encourage everybody who lives in a multifamily dwelling, like I said, a 10 or more, to give us a call. It's basically 537-5577.
What was that number again?
537-5577, or they can visit us on our website at hawaiienergy.com. Cross-examination?
Hunter, are you there?
Yes, sir, I am here.
Okay, you have any cross-examination for Rob?
Yes, Rob, do you know where the word negawatt came from?
Where it came from?
Yes,
I know what it means, but I don't know the origin of it.
I can tell you because I was there when it happened. It was a typo in a Colorado PUC document. And one of my staff said to Ron Lair, "Oh, you have a typo here. It says negawatt. You really mean megawatt." And we said, "That's what we're talking about, megawatt." And now it has entered the language. It was a typo.
Is that true?
That's the
Jay,
cheapest
did you
one.
know that?
No, I get the secret is
Okay.
out.
Yeah, all right. We know the origin of the word. Might have to start every show that way.
Well, thank you very much, Rob.
Thank you, Jay.
We're all stand informed now.
Appreciate it.
So let's say goodbye. Hunter, I'll give you the opportunity to close. What would you say, what message do you want to leave with our listeners?
That Hawaii has the opportunity to build the energy utility of the future. When you do this by starting with efficiency, then renewables, no fossil, you don't need it, you will create more jobs and more prosperity than any other option. Don't accept less. Demand a future that is finer for all Hawaiians.
Wow. Okay, Sharon, what do you want to leave with our listeners today?
Hey,
All right.
It's exactly what Hunter said. It's up to us. We have to get in there. Everybody has to get involved. It's not just the utility. It's really every single customer, every single person in the state must get more involved in clean energy. And I want to thank Hunter for coming here and joining us and giving us mahalo to you.
Oh,
And
you guys. All right, Ray, what you close now, Ray? You give us the
Well,
last word.
We want to thank Leilani
And Leilani.
Hearn, who is with the Maui Economic Development Board, who set up all of the technology that we couldn't get right, Sharon and I, to make this happen. But she got it to work, and we really do appreciate it. So that's it from Maui.
That's
for
great.
today.
Well, thank you so much, all of you. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Ray Starling. Thank you, Hunter. Thank you, Leilani. And thanks to Jeannie Skoggs for making this enormous conference. Aloha, you guys.
Aloha.